Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. We are live. Ariel Serber with Jason Ma of 3EQ. My apologies. We're talking a few days before the Opal Summit in the Hamptons, which we're going to talk about what Jason's role is there and some of the other work, a lot of the other work that he does, which is obviously an important topic right now. And I'll let him speak to that a little bit, introduce himself, and talk about his work.
I'm gonna make it very short. Ariel, it's a pleasure to see you again. Thanks for the invite.
Of
Just have
course.
a great conversation. That's it. I think I like to keep the intro very, very short. Jason Ma. I'm a father of two, lovely wife. My kids are both engineering leaders in big tech. They are one is what I call a senior Gen Z, and one is a Gen Z, 20, kind of mid
Mhm.
20s and late 20s. And I'm gonna go to New York this Saturday before Opal Hamptons next week. So I'm looking forward to it.
Amazing. And I love that you started with your family. You're very family focused, faith focused as well, and that plays into your work and your mission. So maybe talk about, your work, your coaching, the next gen piece, and obviously how being in your own family gets reflected in your work with other families.
I would say it's kind of like when I meet with people for the first time, right? Especially with the more junior people. I say, don't just go up there and say, "What do you do?" That's kind of blunt. Really have the
Mm.
heart to try to get to know people. What's important to you? What's important to me, starts with your value system, right? My joke. I like to yank people's chain. You kind of notice that, right? Just for fun.
Mm.
And my family values are unconditional love, humor. And I raise my hand. I'm the factory of bad jokes, right? Lots of bad dad jokes. You know that, and high standards in what matters. So to me, family comes in two places, right? Kingdom of God and my family, my lovely wife, I say I got four girls. I'm a very lucky guy. Two daughters, one wife, one mom. She's vibrant, 94, turning 95, sharp as a tack,
Amazing.
little bit dementia. She's very blessed, built a strong support system. So family comes first, and then comes work. What's my impact and what's the reward associated with that, right? So my work, I would say that my mission in summary would be to help advance human capital and also help advance applied AI tech innovation and distribution and help grow global business value and investment outcomes as well. So that translates to my family business 3EQ and my AI tech venture at Zero. And I just happened along the way, once you build a name, people recognize you, you get repeatedly invited to like for me, I get invited to speak and to chair summits and moderate and panel and keynote and all that by Opal, by a whole bunch of other organizers. And Opal happens to be one of my favorites. They're very professional. I like to work with people I like. I really like Opal. So I'm very
Mhm.
lucky to be the summit chairman again, and they tell me that, hey, Jason, the Opal Hamptons Family Office Private Wealth Summit is now their flagship, in addition to Newport. So I'm very grateful to be the chairman. I'll moderate usually the opening panel because that helps set the stage, right? Help uplift the whole ship. Like to me, it's very easy to do. Go on stage
Yeah.
and uplift people, inspire, but do it with heart and substance, right? And so what's important to me? That's pretty much what's important to me.
Yeah, and I think that's an important takeaway that really anyone can learn from, like to look at what's actually important, what are the values, and then how do you translate that into impact.
Mhm.
So, and I think the topic of your panel is very important. Obviously, the bridging of wealth with from one generation to the next. We're seeing a lot of that already starting. How do you see that happening? How do you um, advise families to start thinking about that? And what do you have to say there?
It's a nice interconnected segue, right? The opening
Sure.
panel, I'm gonna have 11 speakers, 50 minutes, right? So people go, good luck. But to me, it's very easy to do. Orchestrate that, make sure everyone has a
Yeah.
voice, because every speaker on the panel, I think I have six or so leading gens, parents and grandparents, and about four or five next gens. I lost track. So it's about intergenerational wealth transfer. Last year, when we did it, and I orchestrated 10 speakers, myself included, you know, it's so funny, right? The topic's supposed to be intergenerational wealth transfer. Ended up that most of us, we mostly talked about family, struggles,
Mm,
relationships, the soft side. And the audience, standing room only, they loved it because it's very
yeah,
authentic. Everyone has a voice, right? I want to make sure that everyone has a voice, stay on course. When I'm on stage, I like to make sure that the most important people to me are really the audience and the speakers. I want to make sure that they are deriving value, they're getting a little bit inspired, some useful takeaways, or at least it's a little bit thought provoking. So I'm not going to give away too much, but when it comes to
sure.
intergenerational wealth transfer, you heard it a trillion times everywhere, right? It's like a whole bunch of kind of tens of trillions are getting transferred, primarily from baby boomers, and one of my favorite bad jokes is that I look like a teenager, but I'm actually a tail end boomer, right? That's you
Mm,
feel my energy. There's a bit of, almost a disconnect between my age and my energy level. My Gen Z private mentees tell me, Mr. Ma, I love your energy, right? They always want to book my next meeting very quickly with me. So I think, and I think you're going to ask me a bunch of questions that relate to that later, correct? So I think
yeah.
in summary, it really starts in the family. It starts with the values and your heart and all that. And one warning that I give people, and sometimes I literally bluntly correct some people sometimes, because I maybe had the authority to do so as a chief mentor. It's not 80% mechanics, 20% psychology. It's the other way around. It's 80% psychology and 20% mechanics, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're gonna have following questions. You're gonna have questions from me along the
A
way, right?
thousand of them.
Yeah.
Too many. And hopefully, actually, we've never actually met in person, I don't think. So
We have,
next
we
week
have,
should be, we have?
we have one time.
Oh my gosh. Then
And an
I
Opal.
apologize for that.
I've good memory, sir.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we did meet. Okay.
New
Yeah,
York,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think, right? New
That's
York?
right. That's right.
Yeah. Opal, New
I
York. I
I
share that
just
too,
like
so
I popped in there. That's right.
right.
Okay, yeah. So you mentioned the support system, psychology. How do you think about how to develop that mindset? I actually loved, and I shared with it in the comments here. Pierre Dupont wrote all about that, the legacy, how it's, and you mentioned it's not just about the mechanics of the money itself. It's the generational, inter family. Could be parallel, because actually, when we talk about the wealth transfer, the first transfer is going to be parallel generation, and then to the next generation in most cases or
Correct.
many cases. So,
Mm.
how do you view that uh, kind of establishing the mindset and the conversations that have to kind of come with it? Sometimes very hard conversations.
Absolutely. Pierre Dupont is a friend of mine. I highly respect Pierre. We communicate, we trade notes. I think we share similar ethos, which has been important. When it comes to intergenerational, now, for example, I have my next gens are Gen Z, right? One senior Gen Z, she's at the edge of Gen Z millennial, and then just for kicks, right? Not to label anyone, and the other one's a Gen Z, and it's really all over the map. I always ask people, hey, how's your relationships with your kids? Let's start with that. Okay, what are great? What can be improved? What have been honest conversations? And when it comes to leadership, right? So a bunch of you know me as the chief mentor of next gen leaders, literally speaking, and I mentor people one on one, right? Select people, and it's it starts with your heart, your heart. How's your relationship, your mindset? Think about mindset. One definition is your visionary story, which includes your own belief system, okay, your own character, the sum of all habits and choices, and your direction, okay. And I'm oversimplifying, but when you step back, and leadership starts with self-awareness, and then listening, communication skills. We got two ears, one mouth. Which parts are great? Which parts are good? Which parts can be improved? Do it with humility. Now, I would say that as a CEO, as a leader, it's very important, in addition to taking your team towards your division, towards your key goals, right? Short to longer term, it may pivot along the way, but are they buying into your vision? How's your relationship? Are you developing them? Are you listening to them? Do they feel that
Hmm.
you know them, you really care about them? No one's going to care about you until they feel that you care about them, correct? It's effective
100%.
compassion, effective empathy with my own kids, with my colleagues, with my own private clients. If I made a mistake, I'll be the first guy to raise my hand and say, "I'm sorry, I effed up, but I learned from it." Okay,
Okay.
because what the core tenet is that you got to be forgiving. You got to be, I call it repentance, right? Which is actually in the Bible. I'm not, I'm just quoting the Bible. Okay, so those are core tenets, right? Those are core um, traits within a leader. Okay, start with that,
Hmm.
and then whenever I hear people kind of write values and plaster values and rules 1, 2, 3 and all that kind of write it down, put it on the wall, but no one's going to listen to it. Your kids are not going to buy into that, because a lot of the Gen Z these days, right, and some millennials, they want to kind of create their own path. They want to carve
Hmm.
their own way. Some of them might go back to the family business. A fraction might want to participate in a single family office if you have one. But it's actually very common now. My own kids, let's say that I'm a deca billionaire. I don't require them to join my family business to what I do. And
Right.
whatever's going to utilize the gifts that they have to best serve the world, and they are happy. They're building great characters that are aligned with God's word, if you will. Um, and then along the way, I'm not gonna, frankly speaking, at least in my case, okay. I mean, different persons got different perspectives. Let's say I have $1 billion. Do you think I'm gonna give most of that to my kids? No. A fraction, yes. Most of that, I'm gonna ask for guidance on what to do to even create a better world that pleases the Lord. How's that? Okay, and
Yeah.
I think that's a higher power to that.
Yeah. That's amazing. So how should families start thinking about creating those frameworks and that, is there someone you mentioned guidance? Are there folks? I mean, this sounds like a lot more than just going to the estate attorney.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, the estate attorney, your accountant, your tax guys, if you have a single family office, of course, your staff, most of them are going to
Mhm.
be probably outsiders. Now, here's the difference that I see, right? Is that if you're the matriarch, patriarch, you're the principal, you're the owner versus someone working for you, your performance metrics are a little different. Is your money. The other guys are measured a little bit differently, right? So that's a separate conversation. um, I would say it's really is is your vision aligned with true heart, mind, and soul. Okay. Now, for example, when I mentor teenagers and young adults versus mentoring 40, 50, 60 year olds, I got these in my small little handful of private clients, right? Mentees
Mhm.
or students. And I'm very consistent in getting to know them extremely well. The kids, I get to know them more than the parents know them. It's actually very simple. It's biology, because the family members, on average, will not tell each other everything. Correct? And your
Of
kids are
course.
not going to tell parents everything. Your parents are not going to tell the kids everything. You're not going to tell your wife everything, and vice versa. Let's face it. Okay. So I'm the trusted third party chief mentor. Okay, and I'm brought in to uplift everyone, to help you prepare real well. And whether it is, say, legacy building, whether it is getting into elite colleges or getting to great grad school or advancing your career and leadership, those are key life stage goals, right? Based on your life stage. For example, for you and I, we care about our
Mm.
next level business, career, personal success, maybe family success, correct? That's
Yeah.
consistent for people working. Different maturity levels. I'm probably more on the mature leadership side as a tail end boomer with a lot of with a bit of wisdom along the way, correct? If you're a high school
Mm,
kid, a lot of the elite, the elite wealthy families like kids to go to great schools. But I had to warn them, okay? Because lots of wealthy parents make the same mistake, is that they start late, they are prideful, they are not seeing the forest for the trees. They see a few
yeah.
trees in front of them, especially in New York, right, in Silicon Valley.
Mm,
These tiger moms and dads everywhere, correct? Oh, if my kid go to a top school, I have faith. It's a social currency thing, correct? But
hmm
a lot of kids, once they go to these very competitive schools, they're stressed out of their minds, high anxiety, depression, some even worse. I see it all the time, and then the families go quiet, right? So
mm,
the way that I do things is that recognizing that legacy building, strengthening a family legacies, is a byproduct part of the equation for in my preparing you to become a great leader. Okay. It's not getting into school. That's just a means. It's not the end. The end is more your career success, your future success, your real impact in the world, and the rewards financially. Okay.
yeah.
Those are outcomes, correct? So people get confused between ends and means. You have to
Mm,
distinguish between what are means, what are the ends, what are the outcomes. I prefer to guide people where here, okay, be outcome focused with a visionary direction, and I correct, upgrade, optimize your direction that feels right to you, that's aligned with your system, and I would upgrade your values and beliefs and your skills and strategic thinking and your execution along the way. I call it kind of relevant to what I call practical, emotional, social leadership intelligence. Notice
yeah.
it's a
Wow.
three EQ, not just EQ, correct? And
Yeah.
there's a reason before that. So it all maps, it's all interconnected together towards a greater impact, a greater legacy, greater
Yeah.
outcomes, greater financial rewards. You're going to end up making a lot more money by doing so, with
Right. And it's
happiness,
like
with
seeing the
fuller
big
well-being,
picture.
with well-being, correct? So it's a big picture, it's vision, it's strategy, it's pragmatism and tactics, but it's also timing as well, and based on who you are.
Mm,
Different life stage got different life stage goals, right? So going back to your question when it comes to wealth transfer, which is really part of the equation, your goal in life is not to transfer your wealth. Your goal in life is to really make a real impact, build a great character within yourself. The first person we should improve as leading gens, right? Parents and executives and CEOs and family office principals is ourselves. Okay. And for friends that listen to me, connections that listen to me, if I sense that you're going off course, I'm gonna voice my opinion. Because real friends would love you, would be
mm,
candid with you. Fake friends would be hypocritically polite with you all the time. Because they don't want to
yeah.
confront you. But confrontation, conflict management, along with many other soft skills, critical thinking, strategic problem solving, communication, curiosity, lifelong learning, collaboration, people, social, relational intelligence, those are key soft skills to develop, right? You get these
Yeah.
right, you get these more optimized, improved, relationships are better, everything greases the path when it comes to wealth transfer, I tell you.
Yeah. So it sounds like, and I'm kind of interpreting, and there's a lot to unpack here, and that's amazing stuff. And obviously, everyone that's watching or listening at some point should have these, think about these things, have these conversations, and if you can, join next week. Join next week. If you can't, follow us, follow Opal, follow the thought leaders in this space. Like we mentioned, Pierre Dupont, who spoke about a lot of that stuff in his writing about thinking about 100-year legacy. And it sounds like wealth is the tool to create the impact that you want in the world.
Wealth is a tool, not the tool. It'll certainly
Sure.
make things easier. But if mismanaged, it's going to mess you up, your family up. You see it all the time. Separate topic. Happily talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about. I mean, what leads to the potential disaster, and what are the risks, and what are the um, ways to avoid. I mean, you can't avoid every risk, obviously, but and you can do a lot of planning, a lot of you know talking, and that mitigates some of that risk. But you can't control everything, obviously, but the things you can control, what causes things to go wrong?
I would say misalignment between the controllers, the um, between the I guess the leading gens, right? When I say leading gens and next gens, just to keep it simple, vocabulary simple. I mean, you could
Mm,
use whatever vocabulary you want. So let's say that you're a boomer on average, right? And you got a trillion, you got hundreds of millions or whatever, right? And you got your own family business, etc. If you force your family members to do things against their will all the time, you're gonna get a backlash, especially
mm.
with the next generation. It's that simple.
Yeah, they don't want that.
They don't want that because it does not feel right to them. They are being forced fed something they don't want, and they want to co-create. They want to kind of they lack maturity. Okay, no matter how bright they are, graduate of Stanford, Harvard, MIT, Berkeley. I coach a whole bunch of these kids. I in fact I help a whole bunch of those kids get prepared and get admitted to these schools, and they
Mm,
end up graduating. And I have a small army out there. And kids, especially when you analyze, step back, you look at the supply chain on what go into the mind, soul, and physiology, nervous system. Okay, your family, your K to 12 education, the echo chambers, the media entertainment, the conversation, the books they read, the social media, the legacy media, and then the higher education. Okay, adult education, and echo chambers. So those are the supply chain into one's mind and soul. It's conditioned over time. When you
mm-hmm.
analyze that, it's like, okay, what's been great, what's been pretty bad. No one does that. Okay, not many people really kind of have this analytical mindset. Like for me,
Yeah.
I'm highly spiritual. I'm very analytical. I know how to synthesize complex problems and kind of boil it down to a simple sentence to you, right? And after doing that for 20,000 hours, it's a bit of a flywheel. It's kind of like Malcolm Gladwell, 10,000 hours. I've been doing 20,000 hours. So to me, it's very, very
Mm,
easy. Right? So reading people, reading situations is very easy for me. And I could kind of detect any evil in people very quickly. So it's really get yourself into a situation. Well, I call it honing your 4S and 3 EQ, frankly speaking. That's my own private
okay.
mentorship framework. Well
Okay.
established, it works. Visionary story, your state, your strategies, your skills, soft and hard in the age of AI, your execution ability, and your practical, emotional, relational slash social and leadership intelligence. You measure that. Okay. So
Yeah.
with every single student that I mentor and coach, whether you're a teenager, college student, or 60-year-old, I would focus on your vertical goal outcomes, right? Prepare real well in your life stage. Let's blow away achieving those goals. Okay. That's
Mm,
vertical, practical preparation and goal achievement. And then horizontally, I would always continuously help you upgrade your force and 3 EQ. Because after doing this for 20,000 hours, I find that, man, that's the most powerful thing, man. That's your practical
yeah.
operating system. That's it. That's your skills, right? In my book, Young
Yeah.
Leaders 3.0, in the epilogue, I talked about that. I talked about it in a Gen Z language, equating it to your operating system, to your apps. Your operating system is like your mindset and your state. Your apps are like your
Yeah.
skills, right? It's more relatable. That's really core. So
Yeah. So you mentioned small army, and it sounds like what you've built with in your own family, you've extended that out to a broader population. It sounds like that's what you're
I,
probably
I would
most.
say I would say it's really way back in 2005 when I wanted to get into education 20 years ago. Oh my God, right? 20 years ago. Um, so funny. I realized that back then the education industry was already a multi-trillion dollar industry. But when you look at the multiples compared to tech and all that, they're not getting the respect of what they want, right? But education, supply side, demand side, and I saw a low supply of real good next gen leaders. I said, I'm going to jump in. Actually, we started a education technology SaaS software as a service company in China, and I kind of Cayman Islands holding company mapped it over, merged it with an American chain of learning centers, which was into top tier college prep, right? College consulting, planning, application and mission process. So combined and formed my previous company. I brought in a former Stanford provost, a couple of Stanford professors. I even brought in Eric Yuan. And in fact, Eric Yuan gave birth to Zoom right in front of me in my boardroom as an investor. So Cisco is
Mm,
not listening to me. Up them, I'm going to file my company. So guys, welcome to using Zoom. Welcome to working from home. I've been doing that for 15, 16 years. So Eric Yuan's a great
yeah.
guy. Talk about compassionate leadership. Okay. Jeff Wiener, Eric Yuan, I wrote admire them. Their compassionate leadership is off the charts, right? So but that's a premise of my getting better and better in what I do in college counseling, and I'm also really into holistic life, career, personal coaching, and all that. And fast forward to 20 years later, today, got it down to a science, right? So
Yeah.
that part, and along the way, because of the skills that I have, in fact, my younger daughter, remember, applied she got her share of rejects and admits to private schools. And I thought, you know what? Just go to some mediocre public school. Doesn't matter. High school. You got this guy. That's how the world works. The world is more rough than that, not manicured, right? Unless you go to Wall
Yeah.
Street, some finance positions and kind of in some certain roles, certain sectors and companies, that's more manicured. But the real world is a bit more rough than that. Get used to
Yeah.
it.
And
Okay.
also you mentioned before about the tiger moms and the this and the that. It's like in the real world, you can't just if you call your mom in, like something's gone
Oh, on the Tiger
something's
Mom,
gone
I
wrong.
have I have a fun anecdote for you. So when Amy Chua, Battle Hymn of Tiger Mom, she's the author, right? When the book came out, 2010, I think. So we wrote each other. We discovered that we went to school locally in the Bay Area. And I said, Amy, we are tiger parents. Why? Because we were born in a year of tiger. But I mean, she's fun, man. And she's a top, Yale law professor. And I read her books and all that. I love her work.
Yeah, no,
Anyway,
that's
a little
great.
bit off course there.
No, that's okay. We've talked a bit about AI. We talked a lot about the families and can we how do we merge them into what families should be thinking about in terms of leveraging technology in maybe within this whole process of
Mm, mm.
legacy and um, kind of pushing that forward into the
Absolutely,
future.
absolutely. I'm based in Silicon Valley, right? So I'm immersed in that world on a daily basis. Every day I get deal flows. Every day I get these community activities, right? It's like the amount of AI community activity in Silicon Valley dwarf the whole damn world, except maybe for China. So much, right? Delete, 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 delete. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Delete, delete, right?
Mm,
So much. So when it comes to AI, guys, your competitor is not AI. Your competitor are people in your field using AI better than you. So there are two fronts, right? One is using AI individually, whether it's OpenAI, Anthropic. Don't pay attention to Grok. Elon knows what he's doing. Now they acquire that company, etc. And don't discount
mm.
Gemini. Okay, Google is going
No,
through
never
some.
count Google out.
Yeah, they're going through some human capital leadership transitions, but Sergey Brin's back to work full time. So pay
Hmm.
attention. Individually, you got to become very proficient using AI to augment your work. AI, think of it as augmented intelligence. Okay, and you individually and within your family, within your organization. Okay, my own daughters, they are both software engineering leaders. One at Google, one at Stripe. Okay,
Yep.
they are
Stripe's been in the news.
right. So they're totally. Sabrina has been in Google for 8 years, and Lydia Stripe for her, and then they got a big promotion recently, and team leaders, they know how to communicate, blah, 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 right? So, and they dived in and learned to use AI real well to augment that work in software engineering and leadership and communication. Okay. So as a family, in your family office, you got to use AI real, real well. Okay, and use it and don't get left behind because things are changing so fast. Decades ago, things change every couple of years, couple of months, and then couple of weeks. Today, things change on a daily basis. I pay attention on a daily basis. Okay, and I stay on top of that, and I take a leadership role to do whatever audience that's in front of me. So that's one point: using AI wisely and ethically with wisdom, astutely. The second part is investing in AI related ventures. Here's one common mistake that I see all the time in so many investors. Okay, family offices, angels, VCs. Okay, a
Mhm.
lot of people, bluntly speaking, exhibit a combination of what I call off the mark assumptions or premise. Once your beliefs and assumptions is off the mark, your decisions and your actions going to be off the mark. It's going to be low quality, not high quality. Number one. Number
Mhm.
two is really linear thinking. Okay, cut some small thinking there. And number three is a lack of strategic imagination. Rudolf Botha, the former managing partner, I think the guy's a billionaire, right, for Sequoia Capital, the most successful VC firm ever. I think they got about 8 billionaire GPs or something like that. He even admitted that my failure was my lack of imagination. All those
Wow.
guys make mistakes too. They are very successful. We are human beings, right?
Sure.
We all make mistakes, right? So he's
Well,
humble
yeah.
enough to admit
Look.
that.
If you hit 300 in baseball, you're probably in the Hall of Fame. So
There you go. So you know, so he said that, and then what I call, and I see this all the time, reductive heuristics. It's sort of like before you dive in, you think, oh, that's not right. It doesn't feel right. It's your limiting beliefs. It's reductive heuristics, right? Like quick judgment based on false premise to begin with, and then excessive ego. Got it? So a combination. Reflect a little bit here, guys. No ego. Okay, no ego. You go into a situation, you have to shelve your ego. Now, some good ego is good to drive you, but if it's all vanity ego, hmm, maybe you should talk to Jason Ma, become a student of mine, right? Reminds me of one investor that denied a deal that I introduced him to a couple of years ago. I literally reprimanded him. I said, here's your problem. Here's the part in your premise that's faulty, it's off the mark. He goes, oh, I didn't know that. Now you do. And he wrote me a check, became my student,
yeah.
right? And I started guiding him.
Yeah.
So that part, it's like really be. I wrote a couple of articles, right? One is called Single Family Offices and Ultra Net Worth Individual Investors: The Rise of Smart AI Tech Investing. So
Yeah.
I got it published in Impact Wealth, in Red Hot Monday, in Family Wealth Report, couple of top tier publications. And it's on my website, 3Q, okay, THREEEQ.com, my family business. It's also my LinkedIn. Go check it out. And then I said, oh, I forgot to write about risk mitigation. I did. So I wrote an addendum, additional insights article on LinkedIn. SFOs and ultra network investors, additional insights, right? And talked about what works, what doesn't work. If you are SFO, entrepreneurial, this works. But if you are kind of institutional, bureaucratic, it may not work for ones where you're going in early enough where your MOIC would be high, 100x, right? Couple hundred X, 1,000x. Those exist out there. Unless you
Sure.
prefer to follow the herd, try to get a piece of Anthropic, get a piece of Space X for your
Hmm.
namesake for whatever reasons. Good for you. If it makes you happy, go for it. But beware of not following the herd all the time. We in Silicon Valley is infamous, not myself, right? It's infamous for inventing another herd mentality, another fashion. The whole world follows. Some of those guys make the billions. Later on, a fraction is going to apologize. So you
Hmm.
have to discern well your mindset, your discernment, strategic thinking, your skills, soft skills, okay, and hard skills as well. Hard skills get obsolete pretty quickly. Soft skills stick with you for a long, long time, right? And then
Yeah.
and then make swift a judgment based on first principles. Elon and Steve Jobs are the extreme examples of signal to noise. Elon's like noiseless, okay? The guy's all signal. It's all incredible, all signal, no noise. Steve
Hmm.
Jobs, interpersonally in a team, he could be very brutal with you. He said,
Right.
shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Very blunt with you. People that are not made for that, not have the high standards working for him, is going to get freaked out. It's going to get fired. Shouldn't be hired to begin with, right? So Elon's noiseless. Steve Jobs is like a second to that. Those are extreme examples. But look at the legend they've created in the work, correct? You love
Yeah.
them or hate them, there's something to learn about signal to noise ratio there. So look at what noises are around you. Are they noise? Are you distracted? Are you being deceived? Are you being gaslighted? Is it the right beliefs? Is it on the
Hmm.
mark? Do I have reductive heuristics? Am I overly linear thinking? No. You see, you have to kind of be conscious, right? So I advise you guys to read my articles. Feel free to reach out to me. Happy
Yeah,
to have a
no, that's
conversation.
awesome. That's awesome. I think people don't have enough of a rubric when they come up, when they, take on these types of things.
Right.
Let's talk about the summit next week because we only have a few minutes left. So maybe walk us through, the day to day, the overall themes. I know you're running the first panel, moderating it, which we've discussed already, and I love that it's multi generational on the stage, and I think
Well,
that'll
you
be
know,
great
I
to.
Opal, I've it was exactly 2 years ago when a friend of mine referred me to Opal. And then they said, Jason, hey, can you be a moderate opening panel for our inaugural Family Office and Private Wealth Legacy Summit in the Hamptons? I said, sure. And a couple of weeks later, David Libowitz, right? He's a great guy. He's a senior VP for IR. Calls me, Jason, I'm in Newport now. Uh, Everyone loves you. Can you also be my chairman for the summit? I said, okay, what does that mean? Okay, you are basically give a couple of minutes in the beginning, inspire people, lift the whole boat, and then kind of spend a few seconds shepherding people in. And today we have a joke, right? I'm holding my lightsaber all the time. I'm like the Jedi Master. That's my mic. So I'm on the mic all the time, on stage all the time, and happily do so. So I'm going to be the summit chairman again next week. Monday, 24th, we're going to have a great private social in a castle in a mansion by the seaside, spectacular, from 3
Oh,
to 8 p.m. Monday. And then on Tuesday is day one of a summit. So I'm going to give my chairman opening remarks, and I'm going to orchestrate the 11-person panel in 50 minutes. And it'll be so much fun. And then I'll be on stage, between panels and shepherding people. But I tell you, Opal does all the work. I just hold the mic. That's it. They've done a great job. I love them a lot. I like to work with people I like, right? And on
yeah.
Tuesday, then it's going to be just half a day. Then we are done by Tuesday around early afternoon lunch. And then we're going to have the horse show, go to the classic horse show, Hamptons. And then of course Tuesday night we have a reception, and then Monday night we have a reception. No, Tuesday night reception, and then Wednesday evening then it's more open, private, whatever. And then on Thursday they have I learned they have the new inaugural brunch, family office brunch, and they wanted me to talk about geopolitics, right, and investing. I could talk all day long about next gen's family office, private wealth, geopolitics, AI tech, investing, EV college
Mm,
admissions, anything. So they want, okay, sure. And what's the
yeah.
impact on investing, right? So some considerations. And then after that, then we're gonna have a yacht party. And after that, we're going to have a private party at an art museum close to the Southampton Inn, which I stay in all the time. And then that night, Thursday night, then I'm going to go to New York City, see my
Go
daughters.
back
And
to
then
the
my
city.
my
Yeah.
my birthday is going to be that Saturday, so we're going to celebrate.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And I have
Well,
some
happy
business meetings.
birthday.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Hopefully there's some cake or something at the, everyone will sing happy birthday. That'd be
Oh, trust
nice.
me. Okay, listen, the young adults in New York City, are you kidding me? They know.
Yeah. No, I mean at the summit,
Big
but
band.
yeah, and you've got your army there too. What have been like one or two moments or um, takeaways that you've seen uh, from past events where
Mm,
things are like kind of concrete, like this really
mm.
happened because of the events?
Okay. Now, as a participant, one piece of advice is really don't be too eager, like jamming people down Jesus' throat, like especially entrepreneurs as they're fundraising, the GPs, they're fundraising. Don't
Mm,
just jam yourself into people's throat. Get really kind of get to know people, be a bit more relational. You don't have to spend too much time. Be kind. And I hate it when people come to me and say the first thing they ask is, "What do you do?"
mm,
It's like that's pretty damn blunt, man. It's like, are you assessing me to assess whether you want to talk to me or not?
hmm.
That lacks relational or social intelligence. SQ. Okay. Remember 3 EQ: emotional intelligence, okay, relational social intelligence, and leadership intelligence. How you're measuring up within yourself. Be humble about that. And so And along the way, it's kind of like philanthropy, right? So I'm also very active in philanthropy in my own ways. Is when your heart and mind is in truly giving your time, energy, connections, know-how, and or capital, okay, without expecting anything in return, okay. And along the way, you make friends. And some of the people, your fellow philanthropists, is going to want to do business together. And that happened to me
Yeah.
before. It's fantastic. It's fantastic,
Yeah.
right? Investors in my tech company at Zero, and a mentee for myself and vice versa. And I give. In fact, one of my private mentees, Austin Fowler, is a great guy, you know, and he actually paid me well to guide him to take his own philanthropy to the next level. Not many people have that big heart, right? Because most mature adults want me to help take their business, career, personal success to the next level with well-being. Okay,
Yeah.
college kids would think about the career, their grad school or professional school, or go straight to work.
Hmm.
Anxiety management, activities, academics, right? And I call it boyfriend, girlfriend management. I get into that all the time, right? I joke around, the parents love it, by the way. Hey, would you like Mr. Ma to guide you to attract better looking, kind hearted future husbands and girlfriends, and boyfriends, or wives? They all thumbs up. It cracks me up, right? I literally do that, right? Because that would also help strengthen the legacy and the relationships, which are
Sure.
very core. So
Do
back
you
to
do,
the
do you do
audience.
that? One second, sorry, but I have to be, from one embarrassing dad to another. Do you do that for your own daughters?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? One thing about daughters, right, is that they are under my skin. I mean, they're in my heart all the time, right? Heart. I'm very candid with them and vice versa. We
Mm.
learn to be. We learn to communicate better and better. In fact, I repented to them. One of my repentances is that back in high school, even though I was like so effective and well known as a chief mentor and guide kids get into all the tech Ivy League schools and Stanford, MIT, Berkeley, all the top schools and life coaching, career coaching. But one thing, if I could go back in time, and I told them directly, is that I would have behaved in a way where girls, you would felt that daddy more effectively listened to you. You see? Because they did not feel that. I'm not with my other students, right? Because I'm the trusted third party mentor. I'm like near perfect, correct? But somehow with my own kids, it's just biology at work. I said, okay, all right, that's a good point. And so today is a different story, right? Today, I think that's part of my own transformation.
Yeah.
And I have repented a bunch of my faults and weaknesses in the past, even within family, with my wife as well. You see,
Yeah.
that upgrades a relationship. It's not
Yeah.
perfect.
And you have to
Nothing is
keep
perfect.
that improvement happening.
It's a
I
constant and
mean,
never-ending improvement. So,
yeah, the word in Hebrew is teshuvah. So it's
right,
actually the season for that for the next few weeks as Rosh Hashanah is coming.
right.
So that's actually really on point and on time
We
to
talked about that at the Western
talk.
Wall at the hotel, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, no. So and that's that's those are, again, you mentioned the milestones, like the things that you remember. It's not necessarily the money or the it's
here's a very good point. Good segue there. And
yeah.
and on stage sometimes I go, okay, imagine you're in the hospital. Okay, you're gonna be 6 foot under soon. Okay, you got a lot of wealth. Would you like people around your hospital bed to be those that truly love you, or would you like most of them to be relatives who want your money only? The answer is clear. That reflects on what character and what outcomes have you been delivering so far through your life to that point. What's more important to you? You're gonna take your $1 billion to the grave? That's gonna help you, correct?
No, that's not going to help. It doesn't come with doesn't you don't take it with you. And that, you
Right.
know what, that's actually, I think, the perfect point to leave it. We went over a lot, and I think, I think that's a really good point to leave it at, because I think that's the ultimate sort of thing people should think about now for, hopefully, you know long time out, but then go back to your life and like live day to day with that in mind. So maybe
Right.
you have any last
Help,
thoughts, or
Health, wealth, happiness. Okay, so health and wealth are actually super interconnected, right? Happiness as well. Wealth is not just financial. How's your emotional wealth? How's your relationship wealth with those that matter to you? How's your spiritual wealth? So reflect a little bit, correct? And health, same thing, right? How's your physical health, your spiritual health, your emotional health? And in addition to the businessy thing, the education stuff, part of my guidance of my students, literally speaking, because I love them to death, right? I really care. Is I guide them to upgrade the sleep strategy and execution, the diet strategy and execution, the fitness strategy and execution. A lot of people say that, I'm in my 60s, right? Say, Jason, you're in great shape and all that, You look so young. Is a because of the genes, Asian genes. I said, bullshit. A lot of Chinese Americans my age look like shit. Okay. But you really have to manage yourself real well. Like I got down to a system. It's very easy for me, correct? I'm not perfect. I'm still improving. There's still habits that I'm still improving on. So it's a system, man. It's a system.
Yeah.
Start with yourself, your mindset, your spirit, your mindset, your strategy, your skills, and of course your business. So apply that and also orchestrate and uplift your team to move in a direction that is the optimal for you. Same for your family. Okay. So step back and really analyze and then be more humble, Get for crying out loud, not to pat myself on the shoulders. It's like the two big mistakes that wealthy families make that I see all the time are number one, in no particular order, starting late because they think they're here, but they're actually here based on the goals they want to achieve. Second is really pride. Have to really kill the pride, man. That is one big thing. It's the seven sins. It's in the Bible, right? Pride, envy, and all that. Be very conscious. Jealousy. I advise people
Yeah.
whenever I have friends of mine, even people in faith, Christian Jews, say that, "Oh, I'm jealous of." I say, "Don't say that. I'm jealous of what you do. I envy what you do. Don't say that
Yeah.
because you're
Well, and
embedded in it."
envy is it's in the top 10 list.
It's a top 10 list, right? I would say, I forcefully say, get rid of envy and jealousy from your vocabulary, please. Seriously, work on that, okay? But don't compare yourself to other people all the time, okay? We're in this comparison culture, correct? Compare yourself to your best future self, spirit-centered. That's much more powerful, you see. So hopefully that would be a good takeaway, ending our talk.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I mean, we could keep talking, but we all have to go. And but we're gonna, it's a good jumping off point to start having these conversations, start thinking about how to, live that life of impact and purpose. And it sounds like, that's the way to start it
My,
off.
my friend, my friend, God is love and truth. Behind me, you see all the pictures and all the drawings here. Those are my kids, my daughters, when they're young. They wrote daddy all sorts of love letters and draw me pictures. That's it. It's in front of me. It's a
Great.
great anchor. Love and truth, right? And also pragmatism. So
Yeah, and you have that always. You can never take those away.
that's
All
it.
right.
That's it.
Take care.
Thank you, Ariel. It's fun.
Thank you. For sure. Yeah.